Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Go Friday. This is Dee. This is a totally different video today, as you will have seen by the title. Hell itch. First and foremost, if you're here looking for relief, go jump in a hot shower. If you have it, if you don't have it, get some peppermint oil, mixed up with some water in a spray bottle and spray it wherever you're suffering right now, and also take some antihistamine pills. I just had to get that out of the way because this was something I went through a few weeks back. It's the reason why I haven't been filming. It's the reason why I haven't been uploading for the most part. And if you're here looking for relief, please follow those instructions. I will explain more. This is going to be a little bit of a story time. And yeah, so again, for those of you who may be suffering and looking for some relief from hell itch, suicide itch, fire ant itch, whatever you want to call it, jump in a hot shower. I know that sounds weird. It sounds like the opposite of what you should do, but believe me, it works. At least it worked for me, and from what I've read online, it's worked for many, many other people. And as I mentioned, get some peppermint oil if you don't have it already, and make sure it's the real deal, like 100% pure peppermint oil. Mix it up, dilute it with some water, put it in a spray bottle, and that will also give you that relief. It kind of opens up those pores and just it just gives you relief. And as I said too, take your antihistamine pills. Those three things, that's the main points right now if you're looking for relief in this moment. Anyway, okay, so jumping into what this video is all about is hell itch. I had never heard of this before. A month ago, no clue. Never heard of it before. I've had sunburns before in my life, and bad ones too, you know, but I never experienced anything like this. This is like a symptom of a sunburn. And here is one of the biggest problems with hell itch is that people, even like the professionals, the nurses, the doctors, who we are turning to when we're in these moments of crisis with hell itch, we're turning to them for help and relief, and they don't know what we're talking about. So it's kind of a frustrating thing because it's not very common, obviously. So just to talk about what happened to me, what my experience was a few weeks back in June. It was midsummer here in Finland. We call it Johannes, and we had been at the family summer house, and on the last day, which was a Sunday, we were there. We went for a boat ride, and it was a beautiful, gorgeous day, hardly a cloud in the sky. It was like something like 27 or 28 degrees. We were out on the water. It was me and my partner and our 4-year-old son. And of course, as a mom, my focus was just about keeping my son, covered as much as possible, and, getting that sunblock on, his hat on, his sunglasses, and keeping him covered with a towel, just kind of trying to keep him in the shade the whole time. And I don't know why that day I blanked on myself, because normally I'm pretty good. Like, I am a little bit of a vampire in my older years. I was a sun worshiper when I was younger, but for a good probably 10-15 years now, I don't lay out. It's very rare if you ever see me laying out in the sun for more than 20 minutes or something, because I just want to preserve my skin. We only have this one skin, and I don't want to age any faster than I need to. Anyway, I kind of blanked on myself that day. I didn't put the sunblock on. It was like so ridiculously stupid. I didn't have any sunscreen on, and I had a black tank top, kind of a beach cover over top of my bathing suit, which was all I was wearing. And we were out there for a good probably 2.5 hours. And like I said, on the water, not only then do you have the sun beating down on you, but you also have the reflection from the water. So by the time we started to head in the direction of returning to the summer house to leave to go home, I felt it. My skin was red and I could feel it heating up. You know when you're sunburned. So I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to have to deal with the sunburn. It is what it is. And of course, then we had a 4-hour drive to get home. And during that time, the skin just, was heating up. It was, how that feeling is if you've had sunburn. And on the way home, we did stop, and I managed to get some after sun lotion. I think it was this Nivea brand. Picked up this bottle and of course just slathered it all over. My burn was the top of my forehead, my chest area, the upper arms on both sides, and the upper back and the back of my neck. And so anyway, slathered on the after sun lotion and proceeded to just go home. I took some ibuprofen that night to go to sleep, and I actually had a really good restful sleep. The next day I woke up and it was just, again, just typical sunburn experience. You know, the skin was very warm and, you know, I was just trying to do my thing with trying to find some relief with the after sun lotions. And I think at that point I started to use coconut oil, as I had read it online that can be a good thing. And if you know me, you know I love my coconut oil. Anyway, so Monday, yes, sunburn situation was just proceeding as normal. I managed to, in the late afternoon that day, take a good shower. I didn't use anything except for this like soap bar that has like no perfumes, no parabens, no, like, just for ultra sensitive skin. So that's all I used in the shower. No shampoos, no body wash, nothing, because I was scared to, you know, irritate that skin. Anyway, that night again, Monday night, I took an ibuprofen, went to sleep, and actually had another good, very restful sleep. Tuesday morning, I woke up at about 6 a.m. and my chest was like on fire. It was very itchy. I had to actually get out of bed and go to the living room, and at that point I just put some coconut oil on, and I took another painkiller, and I just laid on the couch and I was kind of just pressing the skin. You know, obviously didn't want to scratch the skin and irritate it even more or make the situation worse. So I was just kind of pressing the skin, and finally after a few hours, around 8 a.m., I was finally able to go back to sleep, and I slept for about an hour. And got up and I felt okay. Like this, you know, it was uncomfortable, you know how sunburned skin feels, but I felt okay at that point. Proceeded with my day, and around midday my skin was feeling, I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't itchy yet, but it was just very, very uncomfortable. It was feeling like almost like tight in those areas where the burn was. And so I started to kind of look around online about bad sunburns, you know, just what can I do? I like to look for anything natural or holistic remedies. That's just what I like. Anyway, meanwhile, I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about sunburns, obviously, and she had mentioned diaper cream, and that clicked with me because years ago when my son was a baby, my mom would always send us the penitent cream, you know, the one that comes in a blue tin with a blue top. Like, I think most of us from North America know what I'm talking about. And I had one tin of that left, and it actually says on the packaging that you can use it for sunburns. While I'm kind of chatting with her, I was messaging with her, I was starting to put it on the burn area. And it didn't take very long, and my skin went crazy. Absolutely crazy. Like this unimaginable itch. I think I'm still processing what happened. I'm having a hard time finding the words to explain to you or to anyone how bad it was and how bad it felt. And then after that moment, as time kept going on, and the itch just got worse, and everything I knew to do made it worse. The first thing I did, I think I started to wipe away the diaper cream, because I thought, oh shoot, like maybe this is old, maybe it's created some weird reaction to my skin with the sunburn and blah blah blah. So I was getting that off, and this itch was just building and building and getting worse and worse. And so then I went and I reached for the coconut oil, because I kind of like put the after sun lotions aside at that point, because, you know, for the most part, I just have never really had luck with those. To me, they just kind of make you feel kind of sticky. They give you about maybe, 30 seconds of relief, and then you just feel sticky. So anyway, I reached for the coconut oil. Felt like it made it worse. Then I grabbed some cortisone cream, and that also, I think that was like the worst thing I did at that time, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to find relief. But the cortisone cream made my skin go crazy, like apeshit crazy. So meanwhile, at that time, I was, like I said, it was midday Tuesday. I'm home alone with my son. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. So we're here alone, and my poor son doesn't know what's going on, just that mama is freaking out. I'm like crying, I'm not screaming, but I was yelling. Like I was like, "Ah," you know, please make this stop. I just like kept saying that over and over and over again. Like I thought at some point, like, if I don't get some relief, I'm going to lose my mind. Honestly, I can't describe it to you. I wanted to rip my skin off. I wanted to set it on fire. I wanted to do anything that would make it stop. But it felt like everything I tried to do was making it worse. That went on for about a good hour. I was thinking like, you know, because it kept getting worse. It just, I kept thinking that, oh, somehow this is going to pass. It's going to stop. I'm going to like, you know, I'm going to figure this out. And then at about an hour mark, I was like, okay, I'm not going to figure this out by myself. I'm here all alone. I need help. So I phoned my partner. He's at work. And he's a commercial diver, and they were out on the water on a barge. There was no way that he was going to be able to come home. And even if he could, it probably would have taken him a full hour by the time he would have gotten home, if he had to have been able to leave. But anyway, he couldn't. But I know that I freaked him out because I could barely speak. I could barely like think straight enough to even pick up the phone and find him in my contacts and call him. It was crazy. So crazy. I'm going to say that a lot. It's going to sound very dramatic because it was. I mean, let's give you a point of reference of pain level of that experience was I'm a woman who has given birth to a baby who was over 10 pounds. He was 4.7 kilos. I mean, I know what pain is, and sorry, TMI alert, but I gave birth to him vaginally. So that gives you a really good frame of reference of what I know about pain. I know about pain. And that hell itch was worse than the labor that I went through with my son because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have any help. I didn't know how to make it get better, and it was just getting worse. At least when I was in labor, as horrific as that was too, I had professionals around me. In some sense, I knew that somebody was in control and that I was getting help. But anyway, I phoned my partner, freaked him out because I could barely speak. I was just basically kind of like yelling in spurts to him, like, I've got this like crazy itch that won't stop, and like, I don't know what to do, and like, it was crazy. Like, there's no way he's coming home. There's no way he could come home. So he said to me, either call 112, which here in Europe is 911, emergency services. He's like, call 112 or go to the neighbors. And I was just sort of like, okay. And then I hung up. Like, I didn't even say goodbye because I was trying to stay in. I have a big fan in my bedroom, and I was just trying to stay in front of that. So I'm at home and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and jump on the computer here and look for some help. And I think what I managed to type in was something along the lines of sunburn crazy itch. And right away, all these articles start popping up, and blog posts about hell itch, suicide itch, fire ant itch. There's a lot of terms for it, and they're all pretty good at describing what it is. And so right away, the first article came up. I pulled it up, and she said, jump in a hot shower, get peppermint oil, and take antihistamine. So that's what I did. I just jumped. I knew I didn't have peppermint oil, which is funny because I usually do, but I was out. Luckily, we did have the antihistamine, so I popped one of those right away, and I went and jumped in the hot shower, and oh my God, finally it was starting to feel like it would calm down. Anyway, so meanwhile, I'm in the shower, finally feeling like, okay, it's calming down a little bit. My doorbell rings. So during that time that I had hung up the phone, this is just a matter of minutes that I hung up the phone and got to the computer and looked for this help. My partner had phoned our neighbors and told them, I think you need to get next door. I jump out of the shower, and right away that feeling comes back instantly. I'm wrapped in a towel, I'm crying, and I open up the door, and it's my neighbors, and they're like, all right, what's going on? So we worked it out that the man would take me to the hospital while the woman would take my son to their house, and, you know, we'll go and try and get some help at the hospital. So we go do that. And on the way to the hospital, which is about, I don't know, a 10 or 15 minute drive from my house, about halfway there, it was like, okay, it felt like it was calming down. It was still bad, but it wasn't as bad as the peak of that experience. So if the peak was like a 10, I would say on the way, and by the time I got to the hospital, I was at about a 6. Yeah, I would say about a 6. We get checked in, and have to wait pretty much for an entire hour to see the nurse. And when I walked into the room, she had just pulled up on her computer screen some stuff about sunburn. And that's the problem, that people, when you tell them about this, they just think sunburn, like that's the problem. But it's not. It's the itch that's the problem. So this hell itch, it's a symptom of the sunburn. It's not the sunburn that's causing you this agony. And I guess in my situation, I also had the language wall. Like obviously she could speak English, but I just couldn't seem to make it clear to her that it wasn't the sunburn, it was the itch. And so her focus was about the sunburn. She was looking at my skin. She's like, well, you don't have any blisters and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's not about that. It's about this itch. She had never heard of it. So she was really confused. She didn't know really what I was talking about. So she sent me home with, well, it wasn't a prescription. Everything that she's told me to do, I could buy over the counter at the pharmacy. So I was sent to go buy this snake medicine. It's basically because there's a snake here in Finland that's poisonous if you're bit by it, and you need to take these pills right away. And I think basically they're like a basic, like super strong antihistamine of some kind or whatever. So anyway, she sends me to the pharmacy to buy those and some more hydrocortisone cream, which I already knew didn't work, but I bought it anyway, another one. And then some aspirin. And that was it. Got me home because she didn't know what it was. So I did go home, and I took the snake medicine. I took another antihistamine. I had another hot shower. My neighbors were still watching my son at this point, which was great. So I could just kind of like focus on what was happening. And I had been speaking with my partner, and he was going to bring home peppermint oil and tea tree oil. Those were a few that were mentioned in the stuff I found online from other people who've been through this. And so meanwhile, yeah, like I said, I'm having hot showers, and then I post on Facebook to my friends and family, like, has anybody ever heard of this? And if you have, like, do you have any, ideas about what I can do for relief and all that? Back home in Canada, which is where I'm from, I have a few members of my family who are really into natural and native medicine. And birch tree leaves was one thing that was brought up. So eventually that day, my partner gets home and right away makes up the peppermint oil in the water, and that was amazing. It was very cooling. It made the skin, it feels like you can just feel your pores opening up, and it's just relief. So that was fantastic. And then as I was talking to everybody about what to do and blah, 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 I was like, well, if a hot shower feels good, then a sauna has to feel really good for this. The hot showers were great while you were in it, but it didn't last very long once you were out from under that hot water. The feeling was coming back pretty quickly. So then, like I said, then I thought, oh, sauna has to feel good, like even better than a hot shower. I turned the sauna on, let it heat up. I usually go in it around like 50, 60. I'm kind of, I'm not used to saunas. This isn't normal for me. So anyway, but this time I let it go up to 70 and got in there, and I had in my water for the steam, I had put the peppermint oil, a little bit of tea tree oil, and I put the crushed up birch tree leaves, and that felt incredible. It was painful, like that once the steam hit your skin, but in a good way. I could feel like, again, it was like those pores opening up, and whatever that stuff was, it felt like it was leaving my body or something. This whatever it was that makes you itch that way. So anyway, had this great sauna, really felt amazing, and it gave me a good probably hour to hour and a half of relief after that. So that's another keynote for anybody else who's been through this, or God forbid will go through this, that if you can get yourself in a sauna, do it. That's kind of my story. That was the Tuesday. That was the worst. Wednesday was kind of just uncomfortable. The hell itch didn't really hit me. I had one moment when we had gone out for groceries, but I had my peppermint oil and water mixed with me, and I just sprayed it and kept pressing that skin, and it passed. Then the Thursday night of that week, so 2 days later after the first initial attack, if you want to call it that, I had the worst burn was on the left side, and this arm and this part of the chest on the left side kind of flared up, and I had an episode that lasted about an hour, hour and a half, or something like that. But again, I had a hot shower, and I was using the peppermint oil again, so that worked. And I was still taking my antihistamine at that point. I think I took it for 4 days. But ever since then, that's been it. I think I really wanted to make this video for people who might be going through this sometime in the future and looking for relief, because I didn't find a lot of stuff out there, and there isn't a lot of stuff out there, and there isn't anything really from medical professionals. Everything I found was just from other people who suffered through hell itch. And so I wanted to make a video because I already have a YouTube channel, so why not utilize it in this way and put this information out there for any poor soul that might have been through this or will go through this. The 3 key things, again, like I said, hot shower, antihistamine, and peppermint oil with water. And also, if you can get to it, get into a sauna. That was the best relief. It was better than the hot shower for me personally. I mean, everybody's different, right? Like, things are going to be different for everybody. But there are a lot of stuff out there about like vinegar and apple cider vinegar. I tried it. That didn't work for me. The hydrocortisone cream did not work for me. Coconut oil did not work for me. Those things actually, I feel like, made it worse. I tried the black tea compress, and that to me didn't make things worse, but I don't think it made them so much better either. Anyway, I hope that if there's anybody out there who's been through this, but especially if anybody who's going through it right now, this video might be helpful to you in some way. God forbid that anybody should have to feel this. It's the most, like I said, insane thing that I've ever been through physically. I know from this point on, I am going to be even more of a vampire. Like, I will not put myself in that situation ever again. I will not put myself in full sun like that ever again. I'm too terrified now to go through this again. So anyway, I hope that this information and my experience, my story, might help somebody out there. All I really want from this, from posting this, yeah. Definitely comment down below, share your story. I want to hear from you, and I want to, help and support in any way that I can. Okay, so thanks for watching, and don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That's always appreciated. And also, please subscribe and share this video if you enjoyed it, and if you find it useful in some way. So we will see you again very soon here at Girl Friday. Thanks, guys. Bye. Mwah. Okay, so this is about a year and a little bit later, and I just wanted to give you a quick update that because this summer I've now moved to Canada and I'm living on the west coast, and we've had a crazy hot summer, so it's been a struggle to stay out of the sun, but I have definitely tried my best and to protect the skin as well with sunblock and everything else. But I have definitely had some issues with very, very itchy skin flaring up when I've just had the tiniest bit of sun exposure. So I just wanted to throw this in here, and also, like, I'm definitely going to, keep researching this topic, and it's definitely a huge area of interest when you've experienced it. And so if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, and you've had similar experiences or any related experience to hell itch, and so on, please definitely comment down below or shoot me an email, find me on social media, and let's connect. I'm just really curious to hear stories from other people as well. So yeah, like I said, definitely comment, reach out, let me know, and we can, share the battle stories. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and take care, guys, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.